Mr. Torres, you are suing the defendant, Mr. Watts,
Yes, ma'am.
for breach of a rental agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
You rented a room from the defendant. He was your landlord. And when you moved in, you discovered that your room didn't have heat. You claimed that the defendant failed to provide that information to you before moving in, and he failed to provide you with an essential service during the coldest months of the year, which is why you're suing for $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Watts, you claim that you took all necessary steps to ensure that your tenants had heat, and that every attempt that the plaintiff made to report you to the city was quickly dismissed. You believe that you owe nothing, but Mr. Torres owes you, which is why you're countersuing for the plaintiff filing a frivolous lawsuit.
Yes,
All right,
Your Honor.
Mr. Torres,
Yes.
how'd you come across the defendant's rental?
It was online,
Okay,
and I called the number.
and the ad was for a room
Yes.
to rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there pictures of the room?
I went in and personally seen it. Yes.
Okay, and you liked it enough to rent it,
Yes, ma'am.
and the rent was how much?
$575.
This was a month-to-month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Watts, how long have you been a landlord?
Roughly 20 years.
And this is a single-family home?
Yes.
How many bedrooms?
5.
Okay, and how many bathrooms?
2.
How many people were living at the home when the plaintiff moved in?
4.
4 individuals. So he took the last room? I'm
Yes.
guessing? Okay. So, Mr. Torres, you moved in May?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then you said you quickly discovered that you had no heat in your room.
I discovered it when it got cold.
Okay. And then you brought it to the defendant's attention?
Yes. Not only that, but my roommate told me that my room didn't have no heat because his room didn't have no heat, and he ended up moving out.
Okay. Mr. Watts, was his room not heated?
There was sufficient heat there, but,
What does sufficient mean?
well, the code requires the air temperature to be 65 degrees or better.
Okay.
So the boiler was providing sufficient heat, but for some people, 65, 67, it's too cold, but, we have to manage the best we can, so.
How
there
cold
was-
did your room get?
And I think it was like in the 50s or something like that, or below that.
Okay, so what did he do once you actually brought this to his attention?
Actually, he did nothing. I brought it up to his attention when I paid rent to him, and he said that he'll get right to it. Never got in contact with me. Would write nonstop messages in a group chat stating that there would be plumbers coming and stuff like that. And honestly, my room didn't have no heat at all.
What steps did you take, sir? Because that's what you said in your answer, that you took steps necessary to heat your units. What steps?
Well, I mean, when we get complaints, we call it in to a plumber or HVAC professional. They
Why
come-
wait till it gets cold, though? You knew that your home didn't have sufficient heating, correct?
No, in our opinion, it did have sufficient heat. But to accommodate tenants, occupants, if we get complaints, then, I say, well, we'll call it in, someone will come, take a look, so forth and so on.
Were you
which
just
is
getting complaints from the plaintiff or from everyone in the home at the time?
Only from the plaintiff?
You were involved in a group chat, correct?
Yes,
And that conversation was provided to us.
yes. But those,
And there
those,
were-
those complaints didn't start until he started,
So you-
stirring things up, I would say. But prior to that, nobody complained about any.
Well, I don't know. Some of the conversations seemed like they were coming from tenants that lived in your home a lot longer than the plaintiff.
Right.
And they were mentioning that this was an ongoing issue.
Not prior to him stirring things up. There was one individual who lived on the 3-season porch, which he was aware that, it gets a little colder there, and we provided him with heat, but he had been there for 4 years.
So how long did this go on, Mr. Torres?
It started in September.
Okay.
I moved in May, which was around springtime, right?
Yes.
Yeah, springtime. So I couldn't know whether the heat was on or anything unless he would have disclosed it to me.
So it started in September to what?
September all the way to December 26th when he finally fixed it.
Why did it take that long?
Actually, longer, January.
Well, at some point while we were having the furnace serviced, it cracked. And I believe it's because of the fault of the technicians who were looking at it. So at that point, we started taking the necessary action to replace the boiler.